What is going on, everybody? Welcome to our March 28th, 2019 member call. Super excited to be with you guys today. We've got some 60-degree sunny weather here in Kentucky, and it is definitely brightening the mood around the Sam's household.
Welcome to everyone.
All right. Do you have let's do a quick sound check. Once we, I am not in the forums yet. Jocelyn is. I'm logging in right now. Let us know if you can hear us and if you can see us sitting in our chairs. We just got back from lunch and I rolled in and set everything up. So I want to make sure I hooked everything up correctly. So go in there real quick and let us know if you can see us, if you can hear us. And Jocelyn, let me know because I'm not in the member call. Oh, there it is. All right, got it. All right. Looks like we've already got a bunch of people in the room. We've got a lot of great questions that were posted in the comments and replies by our premium members, people that might not be here because of the time zones. Remember, if you're new to our Flip Your Life member calls, welcome. We are super glad that you are here. Jocelyn and I are going to go over the next hour or so, and we're going to answer as many of your real questions as possible in that time frame. We do rotate these calls. They are on different days and different months each, or different days of the week each month. That way we can get through everybody's time zone. Everybody doesn't have Friday off. Everybody can't show up at 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. So Jocelyn and I try to really rotate these calls to different days of the week, different times of the day, so that we can catch all of the members of the Flip Your Life community in different time zones around the world. We've got people in dozens of time zones, so we want to make sure and accommodate as many people as possible. But if you ever can't attend, make sure you do pop a question in the replies to this thread, and we will try to get to those after we get to the live calls.
All right. Today is also Shane's birthday, so say a happy birthday to him.
And I like to do my favorite things on my birthday. That's one of my big things. So today I'm going to watch basketball. We got great basketball games tonight. I'm going to play Xbox with Isaac later. Jocelyn and I just went to one of my favorite restaurants in town. Got up and got a workout this morning. But you know what? You know what I like to do the most? You know what I like to do the most? That's talk to you guys and answer questions on the member call. So we decided to schedule a member call on my birthday. You guys are my favorite. You got my favorite things to do. So we're going to get a lot of great questions in. Remember that there is a slight delay in the audio and the video. So the chat is real time. Chat room's on fire right now.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, like some of you probably noticed that yesterday was my birthday too. They really are back to back. When I first met Shane, I was like, "Yeah, sure, buddy. I bet your birthday's the day after mine." But it really is.
The first night that Jocelyn and I ever hung out, just hung out like. I wasn't really even a date, really. It was just kind of like hanging out. You know what I'm saying? But like Jocelyn,
when you lied to me and said your printer was broken, but it wasn't.
That was the truth. It just happened to be fixed when you got to my room. But like we were hanging out, we were watching TV and just talking. And when I told her that, she carded me. She legit carded me to make sure that I wasn't lying, because she's like, "Are you lying just to hang out with me?" Because if you're, so I always think to myself, like, if my birthday had been a different date, none of this ever would have happened, Jocelyn. So
well, and we both drove Buick cars. And,
there was a lot of coincidences, so there
were a lot of things that were similar.
Everything worked out in the end. See, my truthful honesty is what hooked you line and sinker.
Right. Right. So, something like that.
Yeah. Now it's funny though. Like I was actually like, I wasn't offended, but I was like, man, this girl just carded me. But now I'm like, when I go in anywhere, man, I'm like, I wish someone would card me, because I'm in my 40s.
Doesn't happen anymore.
So nobody cards me anymore.
That doesn't happen. So.
Yeah. If they do card me, it's because they're like, bro, you got gray in your hair. I know you're old. You're too old for this crap. So that's why we don't get carded now. So
yeah, keep telling yourself that. I keep telling myself it's because of all the wrinkles.
All right.
Hey, at least I'm not 40 yet. I've got one more year.
Jocelyn's got one more year. She's still my spry young trophy wife right now in her 30s. So.
Something like that. Whatever. Okay.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. All right. So thank you for all the birthday wishes. Go ahead and ask your question. I went straight. I don't know where that came from. Go ahead and ask all of your questions right now. Start typing those questions in. We want to get way ahead on questions. That way we never have to pause. It helps us get to more members as fast as possible. So if you do want your questions answered and you're a premium member inside of the Flip Your Life community chat room right now, go ahead and type whatever questions you've got. It can be about work-life balance. It can be about online business. It can be about money. It can be about anything you want to talk about today. We're here to talk to you about it. If you are watching the broadcast and you are not a premium member, we would love to have you inside of the Flip Your Life community. You can learn more about that over at flippedlifestyle.com/flipyourlife. If you're checking this out on a replay or something later. We do occasionally broadcast these to the public so they can see what we do here, see how much fun we have on our Flip Your Life premium member calls. But right now, do we have questions already in the spreadsheet?
We do.
Okay, so we're going to jump right in, and we're going to get to as many questions as possible. Hold on. Kathy asked, yes, you put the questions in the chat box if you're here live. If you are a premium member and you cannot attend a call because it's in a weird time zone for you, or you're somewhere else in the world and it's kind of like not lining up, you can put them in the replies before the broadcast.
But Kathy, I did get your question, which was in the replies. Kathy was not
Perfect.
sure she was going to be able to be here.
That's
so
fine.
if
Yeah.
that's the question you want to ask, I already have it.
Yeah, and you can always put another question in the chat box or whatever as we go. We do try to get through all of the questions first before we answer second questions from people, but you are welcome to put a second question in. We might not get to your second question on the live broadcast, so we'll have to take care of it in the forums. Okay. All right. So let's get to our, hold on a second. All right. Let's get to our first question for today.
All right. Let me see. It is from Rebecca. Rebecca says, what are you thinking about changing with the podcast? So what Rebecca is talking about, Shane sent an email out a few days ago. We have been kind of tossing around some ideas about changing some things about our podcast, mostly because of the workflow of doing it. Because the way that we're doing it currently, we have to make appointments with people. Sometimes we have to change those appointments because things come up. And, as you make appointments for anything, it can be a little bit tricky. So that is the reason that we considered doing that.
And also, too, just, like, it's funny because we're so close to it. Like, Jocelyn and I are deeply involved with everything that's happening in the community, making courses in the forums, talking on member calls, doing, the podcast. And like, you guys hear the podcast and that's all you hear, right? But each podcast that you hear that comes out, for every 30 minutes, there's maybe an hour and 20 minutes of actual recording. And that does get repetitive for us, right? So like, the funny thing was, like, we when I sent that survey out, it was an open-ended question. What do you love about the podcast? What would you like to see us change? And when we compiled the results, honestly, 95% of the people were like, do not change this podcast. This is my favorite podcast. I love this podcast. There were some suggestions in there, like maybe we could broaden out. Like, some people wanted to hear from really, really successful people, and some people wanted to hear more back, from beginners. And we have been doing a lot of success stories lately, and we saw that they were getting into a lane, and we needed to kind of diversify that a little bit. But what we were also trying to figure out was not only how we could spice it up a little bit for us and have a little bit more fun with it. Also, we wanted to be able to serve more members. So some of our ideas were, we thought about doing like a 15-minute hot seat mastermind where we would bring like 3 members onto a call, and each person would it would be rapid fire, like questions, 15 minutes in the hot seat. We could record and ask 3 different people and talk to them on the call. We thought about doing, we don't really like to do solo shows. Like, that's something that we don't like to sit down and plan, because those take a lot more planning than interviews, believe it or not.
I mean, we do them from time to time.
For
it's
sure.
Just we prefer not to do them routinely because it does take a lot of time to plan them and then also to record them.
It actually takes a lot more energy and a lot more planning and to do those than it does the interviews. Just so much easier. And then we've even thought about like taking some of these Q&As and taking like our best of, or maybe even cutting out. I've seen some other podcasters do this. Maybe taking the best questions all about Facebook ads and putting them together in like a mashup and releasing that as an episode. So really, we're just trying to like tap into our creative juices is why we want to do this a little bit. Just to give us something a little bit different to kind of sink our teeth into. And we're always thinking of what's best for you guys and how to get the most value and the most information out to our audience as possible. And also to like help more people. Those one-on-one calls are awesome. It's kind of like nobody else does it. Everybody else is interviewing like, authors and experts or whatever.
And somebody in the chat said, please don't bring on experts. I promise.
No, that is not happening. I promise you that will not happen. We're not going to turn this into a big affiliate sales fest and sell our soul to the devil. We're not going to do that. So it's really more like, how can we get more of you guys on? How can we get more of your voices in? For example, one thing we've thought about doing with these member calls We really love this format because it's easy for us to manage, but I'm thinking about trying a member call in a Zoom setting to where I could actually click on your name and you could come on and ask us your question. Like you could instead of typing, you could still type your question in the chat, but you would be able to come on and read it or actually say it to us. And then, we would just turn your audio off and then we'd answer the question. So it wouldn't be that much different, but it would like allow people to hear you guys, and we could use maybe some of those questions in our podcast.
So that's basically what we were thinking, is there a way we could, get more people involved and get some different voices on the podcast, and it would be sort of like more rapid fire. So
it'd be more like a Dave Ramsey total, the Dave Ramsey show call-in show.
So less of a deep dive into one person and more of a, I guess, scratch the surface of many people.
And like what we're kind of settling in on, I think, like we've heard the audience loud and clear. Like the one-on-ones are not going anywhere, right? We never planned for them to go anywhere, but we do think we're going to try to figure out how to do this call-in show vibe, or this, maybe this hot seat mastermind vibe. At some point, we're going to figure out how to try that, and we're going to air a few of them and see how they do, because it's kind of the same thing as the one-on-one, but just in a more broad general sense. So let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you guys here live. What do you think about that? Who would be horrified to ask their question on air?
Who would not want to ask on a Zoom call?
Because
I know I probably would.
Jocelyn was like, I ain't saying nothing. But I figured we could still read some of them. Like if you didn't want to chat, you could turn your camera off. But if your camera was on, we could click on you and you could answer a question. So like, who would want to do that? Who would want to just type their question? Who likes it the way it is? And like, please don't change anything. Let's just keep on going. But any ideas you have, we're totally open to that. And yeah, we're just trying to make it more fun for us and more valuable for you. So
all right. We have a success story here from Nicola, who could not be here today. She's in Australia and it's like 3 a.m. there. So she's not here, but she says, I've had record engagement with my avatar this week. Small wins, but they're adding up. I have 1 email subscriber, 1 YouTube video comment and subscribe, 1 Facebook page like and subscribe, and I finally automated an opt-in cheat sheet for my most popular YouTube video as suggested by S&J on a previous member call.
Hey, listen. If you can find 1, you can find 101. If you got 1 YouTube subscriber, there's 101 people like that just out there hiding somewhere. You just got to go get them. Same with your opt-in. Same with your website. Same with your everything. So good job. That's a great success story. Awesome.
All right. Let me make sure I got this question. Usually I have help. Our assistant is usually here too, but she is doing her day job today. So she is not here today. So I'm trying to man the chat, get the questions in the spreadsheet.
Bear with us.
And read the questions. So it's a little bit tricky when I'm by myself. Okay. This question is also from Nicola. She says, I'm putting together my first free unexpected bonus gift for my autoresponder email. I asked about a few options in the general discussion, and the most popular suggestion was a resource guide pointing to the top 3 posts on my website, short and digestible. My other ideas were top 5 beginner tips ebook, to starting an autobiography, or 50 quick memory and writing prompts as a single page list. Do you think this resources idea is okay? My autoresponder offer is for a coaching call, and my wow bonus is a writing goal training video.
I would. Okay. I actually like the idea of starting the autobiography better. Like what if you could do something like, instead of 5 tips, like write the first, or outline your autobiography, and you could teach them to do that in 30 minutes. And then like that was an unexpected bonus. Like, because if you can get them to start, they'll pay you to finish, right? So like that's kind of like the mission there, I think, and it is like to get them to do the thing, get them to start the thing. So like I don't know exactly what was the lead magnet. Did she put that in there? I forget what it is. It's like a starter kit or something.
She said, hold on, I've got like 14 tabs open. She said it is the offer is a coaching call, and
gotcha.
The like unexpected bonus is a writing goal training video. So typically what you want to do is, with your free product, you want it to lead to the unexpected bonus, if that makes sense. So like each thing needs to be a, what would you call that? Yes, like a progression.
Yeah.
So offer 1, here's offer 2, and guess what? It piggybacks right off offer 1, and then offer 3 would be something that piggybacks off that, basically.
And like usually the unexpected bonus is the thing before the pitch, right? It's the thing before you first say, hey, I'll trade you this amazing thing for money, right? So whatever they need to do before that, that's what the unexpected bonus needs to help them get a result in. So like if your thing, Nicola's business is writing your own personal autobiography so that you can leave a legacy to your kids, like actually writing your own book, right? And your grandkids. So like the thing before that, like imagine if on day 3 the person got an unexpected bonus and was like, hey, I'm going to help you outline your autobiography in 30 minutes or less. Here's your free template, print it out, write it down or type it in or whatever. And then they literally just sat there for 15, 20 minutes and did it. And they were like, wow, I just autographed my autobiography. Well, it makes sense now when you email them tomorrow, hey, let's get on a call and let's turn that outline into a book. Well, now you have a progression, right? So don't just throw random things at people for value's sake. Like you don't just give people value. You give people a path, right? That's a lot of people want to just throw value and give as much stuff as possible and be so valuable to everybody, but there's no system to it. There's no direction to it. There's no goal to it. So quit the give people value stuff. Give people a plan so that they can succeed, and then they will give you money to help them succeed. Okay. Good questions today. A lot of amazing success stories I'm seeing inside of the chat room. Keep those success stories coming. We're going to try to read one or two. We'll try to read one between every question if we can. One of the things we love to do inside the Flip Your Life community is celebrate your successes, whether it was 1 subscriber like earlier or 1,000 members launched. It doesn't matter. Every success is important in your journey, and we want to make sure we recognize those. So keep posting those success stories and keep those questions coming.
All right. This question is from Kathy. Kathy says, I'm starting the Patients Getting Paid course and membership site. I currently have the FUMSnow.com site. I'm not sure what that is. Something about multiple sclerosis, I think. Yep. And podcast community all about multiple sclerosis. So related topics. I am considering starting another podcast just for patients getting paid, both as a marketing vehicle and for content. I would interview people who have had to leave their jobs and put together gigs that work around their illnesses as inspiration and motivation for people considering getting into my membership. Once my membership grows, I would pull people from the membership who have posted in the success area to interview on my podcast. I love that idea, Kathy.
That's a great idea.
It's a fantastic idea.
Who else does that?
I'd include the podcast in my membership content as well. I would include interviews with experts like resume writers, experts on how to build your LinkedIn profile, potential employers, etc. It seems that I could start building some buzz about this community before I've even built out the course and community, and could potentially decrease my ad spend that I would have to spend without a podcast. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on this. So basically, I think what she's wanting to know is, should she start a podcast?
Or start a second podcast?
Yeah.
Look, if you can handle it, do it. That one,
it won't hurt anything.
That podcast sounds fascinating. Like, do you know how many people are held out of their old career or a new career or for any career for an illness? Like, I mean, that would seem like a lot of people would love to listen to that, because you're sitting at home and you're like, man, my illness is holding me back. I can't do this job anymore. I've got to find something else. Then you find a podcast exactly about that. We love podcasting. We think that podcasting is the best platform on the planet. It's so intimate. It builds relationship like no other platform. YouTube doesn't really build relationship. Even email marketing doesn't really build the relationship that you get when you listen to a podcast and you feel like, you're almost in on the conversation with people, right? Especially if you're in that space or you're in that niche. So if you think you can handle the workload of a second podcast, then by all means do it. I am not against having multiple podcasts. I think at one time we had 3. Had you stopped elementarylibrarian.com when we launched this one?
I don't know. I can't
Coach
remember.
XO I winded down later. Like I did do a few. It overlapped a little bit. But if you can handle the workload, by all means,
it's a great way to create content. And if it's what makes you happy creating content, then do it.
There's almost no way we would ever tell someone not to start a podcast. Like I would never tell you to do it like you have to do a podcast. Like some people don't like to talk. But like if you want to start a podcast, you should probably do a podcast, because it is going to do nothing but help grow your brand. So
all right. Let's do a success story real quick. This one is from Brooke. Brooke says, I've had 3 new members since the last member call.
Yeah.
Good job, Brooke. I launched my new beta group for nursing students in a different semester and had 1 sign up within 5 minutes.
That's amazing. Hey, listen,
Oh, yeah.
I'm seeing a trend on the last like probably 4 or 5 member calls. So the 2 success stories that we've read today, people are calling out like, I asked a question on the last call. Oh, by the way, since the last call, like, listen up, guys, to what these members who are having these success stories are doing. They're using the member calls as checkpoints. Every 2 weeks we do this. Every 2 weeks we're talking. Every 2 weeks you get to come ask us a question, and then you get to go take action on it for 14 days before the next member call.
And spoiler alert, if you can't be here, we'll still answer your question.
That's right. You just put
Leave
it in the replies,
the
right?
replies
So
down there underneath
listen,
this.
use these member calls. This is leverage for you guys. It's not just to show up and ask a question. It's to get your next step and take it, and then come back in 2 weeks to celebrate and figure out the next one. So, I mean, I love how you guys are chunking your businesses into these little mini successes, and they're just stacking up along the way. Like, what if every 2 weeks for the next, for the rest of the year, was that Brooke? Brooke adds 3 members, right? How many weeks are left in the year? Times 3, whatever. Like, right? Like, it's just going to stack on top of each other and become a huge success story with a bunch of little building block success stories. So, way to use the member calls, way to take action, and way to hold yourself accountable. It's awesome stuff. Oh, you're good. We were actually, man, the chat room is packed right now. There are a lot of people watching as well on the video. Like, we were kind of like, is Thursday at 2:00 going to be a good time for a member call? But you just never know, like, when people can get free to kind of watch stuff. So that's awesome, guys. Absolutely awesome.
Okay, sorry. Again, I'm trying to do
back
the
and forth.
job
We're
of
good.
like 2 people. So, okay, let's see here. The next question is from Sean, and Sean says, I have multiple lead magnets that vary in the product deliverable. How would you test each of them?
Okay. So it's basically he's got 3 different lead magnets that deliver 3 different things. Okay. So it'd be like, oh, well, maybe these people come to this page, so they get lead magnet A, lead magnet B, lead magnet C. Okay. Well, the only thing you really can do, Sean, is set up a test. Like, you can say, all right, for 1 month, I'm going to do only lead magnet A. For 1 month, I'm only going to do lead magnet B. For 1 month, I'm only going to do lead magnet C. And then I'm going to see which one got the most opt-ins. But you got to control the variables. Like, you need to look at one page that you're going to put this on that leads to that thing. Maybe it can be your homepage. It could be a blog post. It could be whatever. Okay. My guess is you've made 3 different lead magnets for a reason. And don't get caught up in this. Like, you need more than one lead magnet anyway, because it's more like which category you're sticking them in. Like, you don't want all 3 lead magnets or just random lead magnets on pages. If you've got a blog post that's more related to lead magnet B, well, then lead magnet B needs to be on that page, or lead magnet C or lead magnet A, right? Like, we've had dozens of different lead magnets over the years, and usually it's based on the audience we're putting something in front of. Like, when we went on Pat Flynn's podcast the last time we were on it, we made a special thing called the Online Business Quick Start Guide, and we offered that to Pat's audience. Okay. But when I did an interview on Michael Stelzner's social media, what's it called? Social media marketing podcast, I made a brand new lead magnet for that. I literally turned on the camera and recorded a new course because he wanted to talk to us specifically about an ad strategy that we use. So this was a much more advanced audience. So I had to make a new lead magnet. So it's not about which one performs the best against each other. It's which one performs best in context on the page that you need to use that one on. Okay. So the merit here, I guess, the moral of that story would be, on your homepage, you might need to test it. But, like, the real thing is, man, you've got 3 valuable assets that you can use in your marketing. Look at every post on your site and make it unique. Make that one of those things that relates to it the most, that lead magnet, and you're much more likely to get an opt-in. Relevance is what gets you opt-ins, not I made the magic lead magnet that's going to get everybody to sign up. If the lead magnet is the logical next step of the blog post, they're going to do it, right? So that's pretty much our funnel is actually built like this. Like our funnel starts at our podcast, and the way we structure our podcast is to show what we do for you guys in the community. So we know that for the most part, when people get to our website, that next step is probably to look at the community. So almost everything on our homepage is designed to get you to the sales page for the community. Okay. It's a little bit different. It's not quite an opt-in strategy that we've used in the past. Our webinars are basically our opt-in now.
And we're sort of experimenting with this a little bit.
Always.
Try different things, see what works the best. All right. So before we get to the next question, let's talk just a couple of minutes about our event. Many of you may know that we are doing Flip Your Life Live this September in Lexington, and our prices are going up like next week. So if you are interested in coming, we highly recommend getting in on the early bird rates before those prices go up. Shane is also going to be starting a weekly training where he basically walks you guys through, people who are attending the live event, walks you through each step of our blueprint that's in our community so that you're totally ready and you have something cool going on by the time that you get to the event. So you don't want to miss out on that. Head over to fliplifestyle.com/live.
Sean Gerber just went all caps in the chat room. FYL live is amazing with a lot of exclamation points. And it really is. And it's just an awesome event. We want to meet you guys in person. We want to see you. We want to hug you. We want to eat a meal together. That's what we want to do. And we want to help you guys get to the next level. And when we looked back at every step of our journey, guys, the biggest leaps we made are when we got in the car or we got in the airplane and we went to a live event. And we have structured this live event in a way where you can take massive action. All the content is going to be brand new. And like Jocelyn said, April 1st, I think, is the first one. I'm going to be walking everyone through the Flip Your Life Blueprint from beginning to end that is attending Flip Your Life Live. Like me there live with you, going through it, making sure you know your next step so that you can keep taking those steps and be prepared for the live event. No other live event you can go to does this.
Jeff just said that in the chat room.
This is totally different. We came up with this idea. It was kind of crazy, but we said, let's do it because we want
most of the time you buy your ticket, you may get a thank you email from the person, and then you will not hear from them again until the event starts. And you probably won't hear from them then. You'll have to go on and look for your agenda and all that stuff. We really try to take care of our attendees. We let you know about what's going on. We send you at least one email a month to get you ready, to let you know what we're doing, what you need to do, and it's just something you don't want to miss out on.
Jeff
it's
says
a really good time.
Jeff said the Flip Your Life Live private Facebook group is worth the price alone. And it really is. It's like a full training thing. And for our more advanced users, I'm actually doing 2 sessions of this. The first half of each session is going to be me walking through the next step of the Flip Your Life Blueprint. And then I'm going to do a more advanced business audit for people who maybe you're already making some money, you're already making a living. We're going to go through and make sure your business house is in order before you get to Flip Your Life Live. Because I don't want you to be thinking about your LLCs and your S Corps and your taxes and all that stuff when you get to Flip Your Life Live. I want you to figure out how you're going to market better and sell better and make a ton more money after the event, right? So we're going to have a lot of stuff for beginners and new intermediate people. We're going to have a lot of stuff for advanced people. And we just want you to come because it's going to be amazing. And there's nothing that can replace a live event. So,
yep. If I look at one thing that's probably changed our business the most, I would say it's attending events and meeting people.
Dan Decker says, my business went from $0 to $10,000 after Flip Your Life Live last year. So there you go, guys. Where's the ROI coming from, y'all? You know what I mean? And I specifically remember my conversation that I had one night with Dan. Dan wasn't even going to launch his business
for months. And we're like,
no, that's not happening, bro. You're going right now. So, and Dan just got a message from him today, and he's like, yeah, I just wrapped up my 3rd or 4th cohort. We're going to evergreen this now. So he's taking his next steps. Everybody's taking next steps, but you can't take next steps sitting on your butt at the house. So get out there, y'all.
Don't miss out. Price goes up next week. We have I think 2 VIP tickets left. So if you're interested in VIP, get on it today because those are going to be on.
I have a sweet, corny price increase sale too. We're doing this is a sneak preview of our emails that you'll be seeing. It's the final 4 days to get the early bird pricing, and it's going to happen. You know it. during the Final Four. See how I did there? See, I'm getting into the zeitgeist. I'm getting into what everybody's thinking about. Okay. It's super corny. It's amazing. And it's coming out next week. But the moral of the story is don't lose money, save money, get your ticket for Flip Your Life Live.
Really and truly, don't miss it. It's going to be awesome. Okay. Let's go on to Brooke's question. Brooke says, right now my membership site is through Teachable and I have a Squarespace website and Facebook group. I'm unable to have forums within Teachable and I'm not sure I have the bandwidth to set up a new WordPress site now, although I plan to eventually. Do you have any ideas to improve group support and input in my current setup, or should I plan to switch to WordPress as soon as possible?
This is a hard one. Like all the website sites are so good right now. I'm actually surprised that there's no way to install some kind of forum. I think Squarespace has like add-ons and plugins type structure.
I would check into that.
Yeah, they may have something like that, but you can totally do like off-site stuff. Like if you wanted to set up a forum, you could do just a site for your forum.
And
right?
we go through that, right, in our training, how to set up a basic WordPress forum.
So you don't have to set up like a whole WordPress site with a blog and everything. You could just set up a WordPress with a forum and it's the whole site. Like there's a lot of websites out there nowadays that are just all forums.
So you just link to it and no one even knows it's not on your site.
They just think it's a page on your site. If you've got a Facebook group and it's working, like if it's not broke, don't fix it. Just get better at promoting conversation. Like if you watch the membership mindset training inside of the Flip Your Life Blueprint area, I actually go through this, like what you actually need. It doesn't matter the platform. It doesn't matter the tool. We do prefer and recommend WordPress because it gives you the most
But there are people using everything.
But all you really need is a place to store your content, a place to have conversations between you and your members, and a place to build community. So if you have a website where your content is, right, and you're having conversations and building community in a Facebook group, that's no different than what we're doing here right now, right? It's just your job to lead. Like Jocelyn and I planned to show up today to lead our premium members in our community. We show up on a daily basis to lead the whole community in the forums, right? We start conversations, we chime in on people's conversations. So that's your job. Maybe you just need to do more of that instead of looking for a new platform. It's almost never the right decision to buy a new tool. But that's the first thing we all go to. Like, oh, I need to sign up for this. This will make my life easier. But really, it's just create content, have conversations, build community, and then stick a sales page at the end of it. If you can do that, you're going to build your business because it's all about people.
Don't get bogged down in tools. Like figure out a way to make it work. If it's currently working, figure out a way to get more people in it. Just don't make it so hard.
All right. Paul's here's a chime in from the chat room. Paul says that there are things called member space there's something called member space for Squarespace membership sites. So I'm
maybe look into that.
Yeah, there's probably some kind of app or plugin to just use the stuff that you've already got right now. If you're that deep into it, don't feel bad about using Squarespace. It's okay.
All right. This question is from Dan. He says, tomorrow I'm teaching birth pros about the basics of marketing. What do you think people with small in-person businesses fail at the most with marketing?
Oh my gosh. We have to be careful here because we're just talking about a local business this morning about this. What made you so mad about that local business we were dealing with today?
Yeah, I've been in a mood today. Okay, yeah. I'm a customer of a local business and they have really been infuriating me lately. But so the thing that I see the most as far as like brick and mortar businesses locally in where we live in a very small area. But the thing
this is true everywhere.
The thing that drives me crazy is just a failure to communicate. And I mean that in a lot of different ways. A lot of times businesses, they want to, oh yeah, we're here. We put out a sign, like people know we're here. That's all we need to do. No, people don't know you're there. You need to go out and tell people what you're good at, what is going on in your business. Like you need to constantly be marketing. And I think people just do not understand that. Like it's a constant conversation with your customers, with your potential customers. It's not just over here. We put out a sign. We posted on Facebook one time our menu or our whatever that we have for sale and we never talk about it again. No, it's every single day. Take advantage of trends. What's going on right now in the world? Okay, Shane mentioned a few minutes ago the Final Four is going on. How can you talk about that in your business? Like how can you bring things in all the time that are relevant to what's going on in the world and are also relevant to what you're doing in your business? Like that is the thing that I see local businesses, especially in this area, fail on time and time again. They are closing constantly because of a failure to do this, and it makes me very sad.
Yeah, that's why we love to grab on to these words. You guys hear us say these things all the time. They're not just catchphrases. They're not just things we hashtag. Like, these are core values in our business. Like, if you're teaching anybody marketing, you have to be consistent and you have to be prolific. And that needs to be passed on to, like, that's what grows businesses, is that you do things consistently, you do them prolifically out in front of everybody. Like Jocelyn said, one Facebook post. No, you Facebook post every day, and that post has to be relevant. Relevant is one of the most important words that you can ever have in your marketing. Like, you have to get into the conversation that the person is already having in their head. It's not about starting a new conversation about your business, guys. It's about saying, what is my person thinking about today? How can I walk into that conversation and say, hey, let me add to that, or let me piggyback on that, or let me bridge you over from that conversation into this new conversation that we're having. And you just got to be consistent. You got to be prolific. You've got to be out there and be relevant constantly, and you can never stop. It never, ever ends. That's why, hey, listen, you know why we're here? I love being here. We love what we're doing, but Jocelyn and I are consistent and prolific. So even though it's my birthday, I'm doing a member call, and I love it. And I got up this morning and I wrote an email and I checked our numbers, and then I went to the gym, right? Like, if you're in marketing, if you're in a business, whether it's a birth professional like you're teaching, online business like we're doing, consistent, prolific, relevant. If you do those three things, you're eventually going to succeed. So
there's your training for tomorrow.
There's your training. You're welcome. Yeah, do that. Yeah, just steal it. Straight, consistent, prolific. Go watch that from Flip Your Life Live last year.
I mean, honestly, if people would do those three things, like, it would cure so many things. I'm not saying those are the only things you have to do, but if you can do those three things right.
But here's the thing. But here when we say that, I got one more thing. If you're consistent, you got to be consistent and prolific and relevant in your promotion. Everybody needs to go write that word down. You need to draw a megaphone on your computer. That's what I actually literally have, a little megaphone that I draw on my notes. And I say,
it's sort of like a square.
It's more like a
Shane's
square
not very
with
good
like
at
a
drawing.
smaller side. Right, exactly. But it's like a little megaphone. And it's my first question every day is, what and how am I going to promote today? Like, how am I going to do? How I have to promote my business? I have to go out of the cave and drag back the customer, right? So if I promote consistently and I promote prolifically and I promote in a relevant way to my customer, I will eventually make sales every day, and you will too. So there you go.
All right. Let me see. Let's go to a success story from Cynthia. Cynthia says, my podcast, the ASL word of the day, is at 136,250 downloads, 7,000 in March.
That's incredible. Those are good numbers. Yeah. If you Cynthia, you're so close to that 10,000 like a month download mark, like, which is like 2,500 a week, give or take, right? If you do a weekly podcast, that is a beautiful number that is going to generate consistent sales if you clean your funnel up. Like, use that podcast. Make sure you're promoting your products on it, and it's going to grow. That's amazing.
All right. Eva says, give us your best advice for publicity, namely how to do guest posts and become a guest on a podcast. There must be something to this publicity thing, since it seems like many of us heard about you guys from podcast interviews or articles on different online publications. How do you land such awesome publicity gigs so you don't have to spend $3,000 on a publicity course? Tried reaching out to magazines and blogs. I have reached out to podcasts, but so far I haven't had any bites.
Okay. I have a philosophy of breaking down doors. Like, Jocelyn laughs at me because I can almost will myself into situations from being absolutely relentless and almost overbearing into a place of not being comfortable. Like, Jocelyn is not always comfortable with how many people like I try to talk to on a weekly basis.
Not always, or not ever.
Exactly. Like, and you have to do things that other people just won't do. And a lot of times that requires time. Like, most of the opportunities that we get for magazines and podcasts is because, one, for every one podcast that you've seen us on, I probably asked 100 people to be on their podcast, especially in the beginning. It's a little bit easier now because we can piggyback off of the ones we get, but we just relentlessly asked people to be on their podcast, relentlessly reached out for opportunities. And you don't just look for the big ones. You got to go out and do 100 small ones before you get the big one, right? Like you got to be willful. You got to be relentless. You have to go out there almost with a shotgun approach and get as many people as possible. You also have to go to live events.
Yeah,
you got to go in person and meet people, or they're not going to let you be on their show.
That's what I was going to say. It's one thing to email people and say, hey, I think I would make a great guest on your podcast. It's another thing to get on an airplane, go and get in their face in person and say, hey, I would love to be on your show. I love your show for these 3 reasons. And this is what I could bring to your show. Because here's the thing. People get a million emails a day, especially if they have guests on their podcast. We even get a bunch. Oh, I would love to be a guest on your podcast. Yeah, bro, we don't have guests on our podcast. Like, have you even listened to our podcast? Apparently not. Okay.
Right.
So, yeah, like that's the thing is, they're getting all kinds of emails and requests and this and that. Almost every opportunity we've ever gotten has come either because we went to personally meet someone or
yep.
Also because of friends of friends. So a lot of times, we'll go somewhere and meet someone else. That person will then say, oh, hey, so-and-so, my other online marketing friend, like Shane and Jocelyn will make a great guest on your podcast. This just happened to us about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Somebody that I had paid to work with emailed me and said, hey, I listened to this one particular podcast. I think you guys would be really good for it. I want to introduce you to this person. And we were a guest on her podcast.
Opportunities,
so that's how you get
opportunities.
Yes, that's how you get opportunities. And there's nothing wrong with cold emailing people. Like,
it's a part of it for sure.
Do it.
Yes.
But it's more impactful to do something out of the ordinary. If you really want something, you have to pursue it with your whole heart. You can't just be like, oh, I'd like to be a podcast guest, but like I've reached out to 5 or 6 people and nobody wants me to.
Yeah.
No, like you can't take no for an answer. You have to go out there and say, okay, well, how can I reach them differently? Could I send them something in the mail that shows them that I'm really interested. So like, what can you do to make yourself stand out and make them say, oh, wow, this person really does want to be on my show. Like maybe I should pay attention to them.
You also what's in it for them? Like, it doesn't matter. Like you're not just going to ask. There has to be some reciprocity when you're asking to be on someone's podcast as well. Like you've got to go out and say, look, these are the 3 pieces of value that I can bring specifically to your audience that's going to help them. Because I want to make you look good for your audience. I want your audience to love this show. We're going to entertain them. We're going to educate them. We're going to inform them. You're going to look great because of this. And also, I will do anything I can to promote the episode. I'll buy ads and drive them to your site. I've done that before. I've actually bought ads and drove people to our interview on someone else's podcast to make sure there was a bump, to make sure that they saw value, that they saw that I was bringing them traffic, I was bringing them value and making them look good. And also take the Pat Flynn episode that we went on the first time. One, it's his most downloaded episode ever. It's more people have listened to that. He told us that more people have listened to that. In our second interview, he actually said on air, it's more downloads than Gary Vee, more downloads than Tim Ferriss, anything. So one, that helped him because we went on and we were a great guest for him. But 2, Pat's a part of our story. I discovered online business through Pat. I never took a course from Pat. He never mentored me in any way. But our success came from that inspiration. And that was the first story we told when we went on Pat Flynn's podcast. So it was almost like a testimonial for him as well. So while he got a lot of value out of it, we got a lot of value out of it. All the articles we've been in have been straight force of will. I decided that I wanted to be in Forbes. I just went and looked for any angle, tried to meet anyone I could that was a Forbes contributor. And finally, somehow we found this relationship. I was commenting on, I was going through Forbes writers and I was tweeting and retweeting their articles until someone basically said, hey, thanks for doing that. And once I had that, I reached out to him and said, hey, I shared that article because here's our story and we think we'd be a great article too. Would you like to do this? And lo and behold, we end up in Forbes, which led to a Business Insider person to reach out to us, which led to a Huffington Post person reaching out to. And my next target is Entrepreneur Magazine, which we just did a video that got shared on their page. And I'm hoping that leads to an article. So this is not easy. But the best way to do it is to press flesh, shake hands, kiss babies, reach out, retweet, give value, and do anything you can to wheel yourself in the door. Because once you get yourself in the first door, man, the second door is a lot easier. And the third door is really easy. And then all of a sudden people start calling you up and saying, hey, there's a fourth door, a fifth door, a sixth door. And they all just start showing up. So,
and I would say think outside the box too. Like for Eva, what she does is she helps people get their babies to sleep more easily. Okay. So maybe don't try to be on parenting podcasts. Maybe try to find different kinds. Maybe you're trying to be on, I don't know, like what would be an example of other things that you could look for?
well,
maybe like health podcasts.
Well, it could even be a business podcast. Like, man, do you want to not be tired at work? Well, it's because your baby's not asleep, right? Like that's valuable information. You just have to figure out.
Ask your friends. Like you might be surprised. So Shane and I are both parts of masterminds, and not too long ago, I asked the people in my mastermind. I'm like, "Hey, do you guys know of any podcasts that it might be good for us to be on?" And they're like, "Actually, yes." And so I was on another podcast not long ago because I just asked a friend, "Hey, do you know anyone who this would be good for?"
I've actually going to be doing this in the next couple of weeks, probably after the Final Four days to get your Flip Your Life Live tickets promotion I'm doing during the Final Four NCAA basketball tournament. But one thing we're going to do is I'm going to do another little blast. I was actually going to email our entire list, and I was just going to say, hey, does anybody have a podcast? We'd love to be your guest. And we don't say no to many podcasts because, like, honestly, like you've got to go on a ton of them because you never know where the emails are. We did one that was so obscure one time. And within like 2 weeks, it got like almost 500 emails for us. And I was like, man, I didn't even expected that to do that. It wasn't even like a ranked podcast, but you just never know. And you never know where those people are going to end up. So email your list. Go to maybe you don't know. You might have 5 podcasters on your email list. They might bring you on their podcast, and then they know someone else who podcasts because it is a pretty tight circle once you start promoting this stuff. So ask. Heck, anybody right now, if you've got a podcast and you think we could bring value to you, I'll do your podcast. Put it in the thing and we'll schedule it. Like, right?
Or if you listen to a podcast that you think that we would be a good guest on, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Like I watch, I'll practice what I preach right now. If you want us to be on your podcast, we'll be on your podcast and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about that you think will be good for your audience. And just let us know and we'll send you an email and we'll get you scheduled up. So
all right.
Yeah, don't say no. Be relentless. Bust through the door, and eventually you'll have more opportunities than you need.
All right. Sean would like to know, what is a good number of podcast downloads per month to judge how your business is growing in exposure?
I would look for some kind of growth each month. I don't really want to put a number on how many or what, but like if you've got 100 this month, I mean, set your goal for 150 next month and then promote it so you'll get them. Don't just wait and hope that it grows, right?
Just remember that all marketing is a rule of numbers. So however many top level leads you have, approximately 3 to 5% of those are going to take the next step, which means maybe opting into your list, which means buying a introductory offer type product. And then 3 to 5% of those people are going to take a larger offer.
At the lowest level.
You need a lot of people in the door. So as many as you can get. I mean, obviously better. I saw something the other day. Let me see if I can find this. It was some podcast stats, and it was talking about how many downloads per episode, and like 50% of podcasts only have like 100 and something downloads per episode.
Oh, it's more than that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just saw this like yesterday. I can't remember. Let me see if I can find it.
It doesn't take a lot of people though, man. Like it does not take a lot of people to make money, right? I mean, think about it. If you've got 1,000 people listening every month, 250 people on your weekly episode, like 1,000 people is 30 new members to your membership paying $50 a month every month. Like you can get a percentage of your people to opt in and buy every single month, especially if you're providing opportunities for them. So don't worry about like comparison is the thief of joy. Like you would never compare the downloads that we get because it's in the millions, right? We would never compare ourselves to Pat Flynn because it's in the 50 millions, right? Like I'm worried about, did we get more members? Is the general trend going up? And don't get, it doesn't have to be a flat line. The stock market goes up and goes down a little bit and then goes up higher and then goes down a little bit and then goes up higher, right? So like that's really just what you're looking for. If you want to set a goal, pick 5 or 10% and say, I'm going to grow my podcast 5 to 10% every month. But then you have to come back and come up with a promotional strategy that slides in behind that on how you're going to do that. It's not enough to just say, I want my podcast to grow 10% every month. Okay, how are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to run a Facebook ad every day to every episode, right? That's one thing I've been doing lately is testing this. We've been testing this new Facebook strategy of just it's almost like exposure, or like, you know how like product placement, we just want to be top of mind. We don't even care if you click the link to the podcast. We just want you to know, hey, there's a new podcast out. So we've been testing some ads every Tuesday for about 7 days to just say, hey, here's a podcast. And lo and behold, it's getting a lot of reach, not a whole lot of clicks, but those are people who probably already have it in iTunes. So they're subscribed. So they see it and they're like, oh, I'm at the gym. Oh, there's a podcast. They click on it, they listen, and then they go and hopefully they opt in and buy or whatever. So don't get too caught up in the numbers. Growth is what you want. Pick something that's achievable and then actually come up with a strategy to do it.
All right.
Find those numbers.
I couldn't find it.
It's
I'll
really
looking.
hot. Yeah, there's a study that how many podcasts have, like, what is it, over 100?
Yeah, and it's like
very low.
It is a minority.
Yeah,
so
very low. But again, if you had 100 people in a room, you can make some money. So
okay. This question is from John. John says, my customers are wanting an email 2 months, 1 month, and 2 weeks prior to a specific contract renewal date for their elevator maintenance contracts so they can make changes to the contract that I recommend. Are you aware of any program I can set up a customer reminder of 2 months, 1 month, and 2 weeks? I'm currently doing it manually off a calendar.
Yeah, any of the modern email automation software programs should be able to do that. You probably want to lean. There's two kinds of different programs. There's a CRM that has email capability, which is a customer
relationship management software.
Exactly. And then Jocelyn remembers all the abbreviations around here. And then what is it? Then there's an email program. So like Aweber, MailChimp, like these are things that are primarily we're marketing with email. Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign, Ontraport, things you can actually tie in sales pages and stuff. Like those are more for what you're talking about, which is customer relationship management. So I would check out probably ActiveCampaign first. It's a lower tier one, pretty easy, pretty simple to use. Ontraport or Infusionsoft will do this as well, and you can set it up because your problem is you're going to have the purchase date trigger those emails. So instead of setting them all up manually for every customer, you're going to want that to happen when they buy or when they pay. So yeah, there's plenty of programs that do that. You just have to set it up, write your emails, and makes it easy. Every email you get from us on reminders, like reminders on annual renewals, or like if a credit card fails and you get like 3 credit card reminders, like those are all set up automated. We don't ever see those or send those. So I highly recommend you do that. It's going to make your life 10 times easier. Your customers are going to be happier. And it does a lot of other cool things too. So just don't get in over your head and buy something like maybe Infusionsoft because it's kind of complicated. So you got this automated. We automate other things too. Like you can even automate like, emails to yourself to remind you to do things. Or maybe you've got employees and you want to automate like, you want to sit down and say, man, I want to tell everybody good job every Tuesday at 3:00. Well, you just automate that and it goes out and people get the email, they can reply back to it. So there's lots of cool stuff you can do in those CRMs.
All right. We are now going to a success story. This one is from Monty. Monty says, I got my first physics video completed and posted to YouTube. He says, I wanted to get it posted for my users, so I didn't take time to do keyword research or make a catchy still image.
Nice.
Good for you.
Just forward get progress it on there without getting in your own way. That's amazing.
Yes.
Good job, Monty.
Our kids, they just recently started their own YouTube channels, and like I'm dying a little inside because Shane taught them how to edit their videos and how to make a thumbnail, which is all awesome. But I'm just looking at them like, oh, that's not the way I would do it. And it would be so much better if, but you can't get caught in that trap. Just let them do it. And if you want to subscribe to their channels, they would appreciate it very much. If you have kids or grandkids or
just type in Anna Joe Sams or Isaac Sams. And
yeah, they would love it if you would subscribe to their channels.
Jocelyn was saying to Isaac the other day, she was like, or she was telling me, she was like, gosh, he's just boring sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to let him. You got to learn how to be exciting. You got to learn what works and you got to push. And he was at his Mimi's house earlier today and he calls me and he was just tore up. Like he was crying, like upset. And Isaac's a real emotional kid anyway. Like he's just got the sweetest heart and but he was so tore up. And I'm like, what is wrong with you, man? And he goes, oh man, it's just, I'm trying to record a video for YouTube, but everybody's talking in the background and I can hear people in the other rooms and I don't want my audio to be bad. And I'm like, Isaac, it ain't gotta be perfect. It's just gotta be done. A little background noise doesn't hurt. And I actually said to him, how many times you walked in on a Flip Your Life member call right in the background or sat in my lap and talking to me right in the middle of a question? And do you think I edited that out or redid it? No, we just kept going. And he was
or
like,
someone's eating a rotisserie chicken.
yeah, eating
or,
a rotisserie
whatever.
chicken in the floor with the dogs while we're sitting here trying to answer questions. And, and like, no, it doesn't matter. Nothing that we think matters actually usually matters. So, way to go, Bonnie. Good job, man.
All right. Let me see. I'm trying to find Anna's channel. I put a link to Isaac's in the. I did, but it's still not working. Okay. Oh, I found it. Okay. Yeah, poor Anna only has 6 subscribers. So.
Yeah, let's blow her up.
Somebody
go subscribe. I'm just going to do some
there's Anna's.
shameless self promotion here for the kids. Like, click on those 2 links and just like click on their videos and like it, but subscribe. Just you don't got to turn on notifications. You'll never know it's even there. But like, go blow them up.
It like makes their day.
Yeah, share them with their kids. Hey, also too, like this is a side note. I'm actually me and Isaac are outlining. I'm going to make a course. I'm kind of documenting me teaching the kids because I know a lot of you probably like us. Your kids want to Twitch. They want to play games. They want to make a YouTube channel so they can be like the people they watch. Like we're making a course right now to help people do this. Okay. I'm trying to get Isaac. I really want to make it where Isaac is the one who's teaching it though, so that he can talk to your kids and because kids will listen to kids better. Right. So like that's going to be coming out at some point this year. I don't know exactly when. And but that's coming out. So your kids will have the opportunity to do that too. And we'll probably drop that in there as well. So, but yeah, if you all could go subscribe, you don't got to pay attention after that. Just subscribe, let your kids watch it. No cussing, no swearing. It's a good channel. Isaac plays Fortnite.
Very wholesome.
All of your kids play Fortnite, I'm sure.
Thank you, Paul, for subscribing.
Thank you for subscribing,
They'll be
Paul.
really excited.
Yeah, Allison says her daughter would love that. We'll work on that. Anna Joe will be involved as well. So I really want the kids to teach other kids how to start their YouTube channels, and how to like make content and do stuff like that. So. All right, Sheldon has subscribed. Yes, both of subscribe to both of them because if one gets out of whack on the subscription,
Isaac has 17, and for some reason Anna has 6.
Isaac has turned out has been much.
Oh, she has 14 now. Woohoo!
14. There you go. Isaac is much more prolific than Anna Joe. Anna Joe's a lot like me. She kind of gets like on these like kicks and shiny objects and stuff. Isaac's pretty like Jocelyn. He's steady Eddie. I wrote 5 vlogs, and his Isaac's 5th vlog is actually very good. You need to watch that. It's pretty good. So
they're learning. They're getting better. Okay. Let me see. All right. This question is from Jennifer. Jennifer says, I budget a certain amount for marketing each month. I'm wondering if I should put a higher percentage toward marketing during high sales season and a lower percentage during low sales season, or if I should keep it even monthly.
I would actually not say go low. Like, let's say right now you're spending an average of $500 a month on marketing. I'm just picking a number here. The correct answer is to spend more during peak seasons. And as long as you're getting an ROI, why would you spend less? Like if you're spending 500 and getting back 1,000,
maybe that would make low season higher.
Yeah. Why go down? That doesn't make any sense, like logical sense. So, I would increase it for sure, especially like, I think she's in it. Is that Jennifer Bradley?
I'm not sure.
Okay. If it's an education niche, August, September, all that's going to be peak season. So yeah, spend more then. But if you spend less, you're going to make less in the off seasons too. So I'm not sure if I would do that. That is a good idea though. Where that usually comes more into play is when you're showing ads. Like you can go into Facebook and Google ads and actually change what times things show. Like for example, if you're in an education niche and you're selling to teachers, well, Monday through Friday during the school year from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, teachers are in class. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend a ton of money during that time, right? Trying to force things into people's feeds or whatever, because they're probably not going to be able to go take action on it anyway. So you could block off times of the day, times of the week. You can actually look at your analytics and you'll see that like sometimes during the day, nobody's opening or clicking or whatever, but Facebook's still spending your money, right? So that might be a better thing to do with that instead of the other thing.
All right. Next, we are going to Monty. Monty says, okay, so this is questions about YouTube. He said he posted his YouTube video. He didn't have everything done, posted it anyway. Can I change the title and still image later? If I get nasty comments, can I delete them? And do you have any other advice?
All right, here's some advice. One, unless comments on our channel use cuss words or are pornographic, we do not remove them. I like negative comments in the mix. One, it's YouTube. There are trolls. You're gonna get them. Okay. And if you sit there for the rest of your life till the end of time trying to remove every negative comment, I don't even read the comments half the time, right? But if we see something that gets flagged, we will remove that. So I wouldn't mess with the comments at all. And yes, you can go back and change. That's the beauty of online business, guys. You can change anything at any time. Jocelyn and I were just doing an audit of our podcast titles because we've never really went SEO on our podcast titles. They've always been like, we're helping Jen, we're helping Dan, we're helping Monty, we're helping Matt. Like, we're just like, that's what we usually name our things, but we're kind of starting to get into it. Like, our next podcast, I think next Tuesday, is titled How a Christian Missionary Built a $4,000 a month online business with Dungeons and Dragons. Like, that's good copywriting right there, folks. That's a good title, right? And that's a true story. It actually happened. But like, we're getting more into, we're going to go back and probably change the titles of our podcast. So you can do the same thing on YouTube.
All right, let's do a success story from Allison. She said a couple of member calls ago, Shane challenged me to get a coaching package on my website. I wasn't able to attend the following member call, but I did have the coaching package done a few days after the call.
Nice job. Rock on.
Awesome.
That's what I'm talking about.
So good.
Everybody should take action after a member call.
People can't buy stuff if you don't have anything for them to buy. All right. Question from Pat. Pat says, I'm getting help on my HR membership for small business owners. While I'm waiting, I know I should be doing something to build my list and get the word out. Is there a training I should be watching in the blueprint to implement while I'm waiting?
I would probably go watch all the social media stuff. Like, we've got social media marketing in there. If you have one thing done right now, like even if it's just a great blog post,
open the doors.
Oh yeah, go on and open the doors. Like run an ad to one blog post, right? Like, if you've got one blog post on your site, and even if it's just at the bottom an opt-in box that says, hey, ask me, if you don't have a lead magnet, why don't you just put a box on your site right now until it's done that says name, email, ask me a question about this topic. You will be shocked how many people actually fill that out and join your email list because of it, right? So yes, like, go in there and watch the ad trainings, the Facebook ad training with Jocelyn's like cold, warm, and hot ads. Watch the cold training and forget the other two for right now. Watch that cold training, drive some traffic to some content you've already got. Listen, you can even start a Facebook group and drive traffic to that if you want to, or a Facebook page, and just promote your page and start growing your audience like organically on the sides of everything as everything's kind of finishing up. So yeah, watch those two trainings and you should be good to go. Well, another thing too, you probably need to watch the sales funnel training so you're building everything out correctly. Watch that sales funnel training so that you're like, okay, well, this is where I need to go, and then go watch those two components because that's kind of where you are now, right?
Okay.
What is it? What's
Sorry, somebody just put in the chat room. Allison says that Isaac is chatting in our YouTube comments.
In ours, like our member call right
like
now?
On the live member call, yeah.
No,
he says,
not.
Hi, Daddy. OMG, I have 27 subs. Yay.
Yes, that is awesome. Oh, yes, that is so adorable. That is incredible. Like, Isaac is watching our member call. We broadcast like every like third or fourth one of these. And we like, sometimes I make them private, sometimes I make them public. Most of the time I make them private just so people can see. And Isaac is chatting there right now. That is amazing.
Okay, that's really funny. Okay. Let me see here. This question is from Grant. Grant says, I'm having trouble becoming the action taker that I want to be with my online business. I have Flip Your Life Live on my calendar as that accountability bookend, and I'm looking forward to the training coming for that. But beyond that, I'm struggling to really get things done. There's been some good feedback on my action plan so far. I've gained 4 random subscribers since posting new blog posts, but I've struggled to keep that momentum. I'm ready to hear your hashtag no sugar response to get some consistency. And maybe I'm just missing some personal accountability beyond posting action plans.
Yeah.
Oh, Grant, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, I'm telling you, man, this is just suck it up and do it. Like, you need to get your calendar out right now, and you don't need to know what you're going to do, but you need to go in right now for the next month and block off an hour a day, at least an hour a day, maybe more. But you need to just do it. You need to just get your calendar, and you just need to say work time. You may not know what you're going to do yet, but remember, if you're coming to Flip Your Life Live on April 1st, we are going to start training every week. I'm going to tell you what to do next, right? You're going to be able to ask, and this is what you do next. All right, see you next week. All right, what'd you do next? And we're going to start putting that stuff on the calendar. You've got the anchor. Like, you feel it. Like, I can hear in your question, you feel the tension. You feel the pressure that you know that event is there, right? So you're going to push toward it and you're going to get it done. But really, it's just suck it up and get it on your calendar, because your calendar and your checkbook is your true priorities.
I think it's just really deciding, like, if you're just kind of deciding, like, I'll work on this when I have time, well, you'll never have time.
That's right.
So, like, you have to decide what you want to do. If the action plans aren't getting it done for you, some people that really motivates, other people it does not. If it's not getting it done for you, maybe you need a mastermind group. Maybe you need an accountability partner.
Or maybe you need to commit to posting not a weekly action plan, but a daily. Or maybe you need to poke here. This is actually a really good strategy for people. And I've actually had members tell me this, that it really helped them. Go into the community every day and answer someone else's question. Like, don't post your own question. Don't post an action plan. Go read through the list and be like, wait, you'll find that you're going to know that was what somebody else needs to do. You're going to look at it outside in, see the forest for the trees, and you're going to be able to say to them, you should do that. But then you're going to look in the mirror and go, I should do that. Like, and then you're going to take action. And when you get to that block that you've already scheduled on your calendar, you're going to have ideas and you're going to know like what to do. Right. I have an event that I'm speaking at in July, and Jocelyn and I can't, we're both speaking at it. Jocelyn and I have to be on stage in July at a major event. We can't announce it yet what it is, but we're speaking at this event, and like, I feel that pressure, right? And I know that I'm going to have to be on stage. And then like 2 months later, I got to be on stage in front of you guys. And I am working my butt off right now physically in the gym. I just set a goal. I'm like, 16 weeks from now, I'm going to be doing this. 20 weeks from now, I'm going to be doing that. And then we're going on a vacation to the Caribbean. So like, I know that, but like, you can ask Jocelyn. I have been relentless at 6 a.m. getting up to go to the gym. It's on my calendar. My alarm is set. Like that. We talked about this. I'm like, I am leaving this house from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock every day, 5 days a week from now until then, because I want to be my best in that place. So you're the same way. You've got to go in and I'll tell you why I picked 6 to 9. Jocelyn and I have a really free lifestyle. We have total control over our calendar. We have total control over our life. We can choose every minute of what we do with our day. But we had been sleeping in a little bit. We homeschool our kids. We work on our business when we want to. And I started sleeping till 8:30 or 9 and kind of sleeping in. And it felt great. It was cool. I got to do whatever I wanted, stay up a little bit later. But then I realized, man, if I just take back that block, I'm sleeping anyway then. I can go work out and I can get healthy and I can look better on stage, right? You got to do the same thing. You just got to look at your calendar and go, man, I've got to take back those 2 hours, and it's going to go on my calendar. It's going to be red. I'm going to tell my wife. I'm going to tell my kids. That's my time. And you got to
do what works for you. So maybe it's calendaring things. Maybe it is checking in every day. Maybe it's finding an accountability partner. Maybe it's finding a mastermind group. You have to know what that is for you that's going to get you motivated and it's going to make you feel like that you really need to get it done. And that's what you have to do.
Isaac is chatting right now on YouTube, and he said, "Good job, Daddy," and he said, "Homeschool rules" with all exclamation points. So love you, buddy. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. No potty words, Isaac, in the chat room.
That's
no potty words. No potty words.
Coming.
All right.
Their favorite is buttocks right now.
Yeah. Isaac goes, "Yay, potty words." Yeah. The other night they went around for 15 minutes just going buttocks. They were having a parade with the dogs, and Isaac just typed poop into the chat. Okay, well, we're moving on now to the next thing. All right, here we go.
All right. Let's see here. The next question is from Rebecca. She says, there's so much I want to do with my business, but I promised myself I wouldn't create any new product lines right now because I'm already stretched too thin. Shane mentioned I should create some type of upsell for parents who are taking our class, but that means more work. When do you decide whether or not to pursue a new idea or just stay focused on what you're doing right now? Oh, Rebecca, I feel your pain because I have like a million ideas that I want to do right now, but I'm also super unmotivated to work on them for whatever reason. I don't know why. Like, I want to do it, but then I'm like, oh, the work. So I do feel your pain on this one.
But there is to construct this, like, an analogy I use a lot is the football field. Like, right? Like, a football field is 100 yards wide. I'm sorry, 100 yards long. You've got 10
ex-football coach. What?
Ex-football coach. You got 10 yards in the end zone. So you got 120 total yards from end to end. and then it's 53 and 1/3 yards wide, right? Like that's the rules of the game. That's how the game of football has structured it. But like when you have your own business, you get to reshape the rules, right? Like you get to, I could change the football field. I could make it 60 yards wide and 40 yards long or whatever. And we could play on that kind of field, right? Because it's my field and it's your field. So a lot of times when Jocelyn and I get stuck like that and we're like, man, we really need an upsell. We really need one more place for people to go, but we don't have time to create it. We say, well, let's figure out what we can create in a way we want to create it, and we'll do that instead. That's actually why we started doing the one-on-one interviews on our podcast, because we said, hey, look, we want to have great content. We want to serve people. We want to help people, but we don't want to sit down for 3 hours and work and research
and write
a script. We just don't want to do it. So how can we still put out a 30 to 45-minute podcast every week without having to prep for it for more than, 15, 20 minutes? So we came up with our intake form, which is it's like character limited. It's written in a way where we can read it, really quick before the show. We know a lot about the guests when they come on, usually from the forums, and then bam, we jump right into it. And we have a template that we follow to do the podcast. So we created what we could create, right? You may have to do the upsell later if you're too thin right now. You may have to get someone else to create the upsell, which means it might not be a big research thing that you do. It might look like something else. Okay. But you're going to have to figure out what you can create. Don't talk about what you can't create. If you can't create something, then don't have the conversation. Put your head down, plow forward, keep doing what you're doing. Or if you can come up with something you can create, do it. It was like Jocelyn and I wanted to go, just me and her, to the Caribbean recently, but we didn't really have time to get it all together. So we went to Florida instead, right? Like you got to do what you can do within the football field or the game that you've created. But there's usually something you're not thinking about. And I would maybe get your team involved. I know you've got a team. Ask them what they think. Maybe it's not the upsell that I suggested. Maybe it's something else. The concept is give them somewhere else to go. So give them somewhere else to go. Just find a way to do it, even if somebody else creates it or whatever. Okay.
And it can be a long-term strategy too. Like that's sort of how I'm thinking about the ideas that I have right now. There are several things that I really want to do, and I think that it could really help us grow our business in some different ways. But the problem is that I need a big infrastructure behind it. And so, I've kind of put it on my back burner until 2020. So it's sort of like my 2020 project. So you can also think of it in that way too.
And like if you take like something like an opt-in, or I'm sorry, an upsell can take a day to create. You can repurpose things. You can do something else. Like maybe you can just pick one day and that's all you do the whole day with somebody else on your team, and you just get it done. And just whatever you create in that 8-hour block is what the upsell is, period, or whatever. But like even if you think about it in the long term, like if it takes 10 hours to create something, like work on it 15 minutes a day for fun until you get it done. It doesn't have to. Don't feel like pressure from your own arbitrary deadline that this thing's coming up and you have to have an upsell this time. Maybe you can have it 3 months from now when you do your next enrollment. Maybe you can do it a year from now. It's just, that's kind of where you want to end up. That's the destination. You get to set the timetable when you get there. It's your rules. It's your game.
All right. This question is from Sheldon. He says, should I use being a guest on my podcast as a tier for a membership site?
Yes. That's actually
we
how we
use it as
guests.
A bonus for tiers.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it used to be our annual, when we were growing the membership, it used to be like our annual plan bonus, right? But then the membership got so big that we had more annual members than weeks. So there was no way to give everybody a podcast. Then we had to figure out,
how do we choose people?
So we had to make it merit based at that point. So yeah, it's a great strategy. It won't be forever, but it's definitely something you can do for sure.
Yep. All right. Jeff says, I'm about to promote my Fun with the Belgian Chocolate online course to recruit my first beta group. I'm not sure what to charge for the course. I found one for $97 immediate download or $15 a month for 10 months. Most courses are either hyper specific, teaching one concept for $11.99, or hyper broad, around $700. There's also a membership course that's $15 a month. I'm not sure how to compare my course to these others.
Don't. Set a price. What do you think it's worth? Like, here, $197. Try that. If it doesn't work, go down. If it does work, go up. You're done. Like that's how pricing starts, guys. It gets real strategic once you get in it. Like you've really got to watch your price points and see what makes people move for what offer. But like the first time you sell something, There's no way you can know. You've done the research. You've seen everything looks like from 700 to 97. So 197. Now you go give them a reason that it's that valuable. Sell it. If nobody buys, try it later at 97. You get to change it. 99% of the people in the chocolate world will never know what you offered it for that at the beginning. You're experimenting. So go for it. Just try 197, sell your course. If nobody takes it, back up. Right? If everybody's like, that's the best deal ever, then charge 500 the next time. But just play with it. You got to start. You got to swing, and then you can work on your swing. Okay. Man, this was a rocking Q&A. This is a rocking Q&A.
I know this has been a really good call. Like, I really didn't expect many people to be here today.
Yeah,
like,
I know, right?
Had so many.
Anyway, we got a couple more really good questions here to knock out. And then that's awesome. It's amazing. Y'all have done a great job. Your success stories, they've been rocking too, man. Y'all are killing it.
All right. If anybody else has a success story, I think that I've reached the end of what I had. So if you have one, type it in, even if it's something little. We want to hear about it. All right. This is the last question I have, actually. So if we missed you or if you have something else, you can go ahead and type it into the chat box now while I'm going over this one. This question is from Cynthia. She says, do teachers across the United States need CEUs, which is continuing education units or professional development, for their yearly development hours? I'm trying to know what my online course needs for accreditation. What do I need and where do I file for it? This one is tricky, Cynthia, because every district has different requirements for their professional development or continuing education. So what I used to do for elementary librarian is I would make training modules and I would give a certificate for completing it. So in other words, I had it set up where they could fill in their information and it would automatically email them a certificate. The way that I did that, if you're curious, is through Google Forms. I did like a Google form, which went to Google Sheets. And then I used a program called Autocrat, which is AUTOCRAT. Yes, I know this is nerdy. I used that to merge the fields and automatically email them a certificate. So if you want more nerdy details about that, I'll post it in the community. But that's how I did mine. But anyway, I would just let them watch the training, fill out the form to get the certificate, and usually they would turn it in themselves and see if their district would approve or deny it.
Yeah, and put that in your terms and conditions too. Put, hey, we offer continuing education, but your district may not take it. It's up to you to do that. So you provide the opportunity. It's their job to get the result, right? So they can watch your thing, they can take your training, but don't worry about being compliant with every district in America. Just offer the opportunity.
It's really hard to do. Yeah. Like I just offered training, and if they could use it, that's great. And I wasn't able to guarantee that they would accept it. Sometimes people would contact me and be like, "Hey, my district needs you to sign this form or whatever," and I would do that for them. But it just depends. Like sometimes they would get to count it, and sometimes they didn't.
Got a cool success story here. Jeanette says,
"That's Janet."
Oh, Janet. Sorry, my bad. Oh, I say it's Janet Jimenez. Gotcha. Janet says, for March, went to 2 live conferences and got 400 plus emails, several direct contacts with administrators, and feel that it was a great decision to attend those events. We had a great conversation about that a few months ago about going to these events. And man, 400 leads. That's 400 potential customers. I mean, if you can get 50 people in there to join your membership, that's going to be like massive ROI on just attending those events, or even landing one school district from those administrators. That would be an amazing thing to sell your product to too. And man, what an action taker you are, Janet. That's amazing. That's awesome. Good stuff.
All right. And then Sheldon's success story. My podcast was picked up by a safety specific online radio show. Really? And I'm only 7 episodes in. My traffic is about to blow up. Good work, Sheldon. Sheldon sent me a video yesterday. I had sent a video to Sheldon and his wife because they had attended our live event last year, and I was inviting them back, and they sent me a video back, which was really nice.
Don't be afraid to write us back, y'all. We send you an email.
We do look at it.
Hit reply. That's all I'm saying.
So, all right. Well, that is all the questions that we have for today. So thank you guys so much for being here. Again, we would love to see you live in Lexington, September 19th through 21st. Find out more, fliplifestyle.com/live. Prices go up next week.
Yep. Keep an eye out on the forums for the next member call. We will be scheduling our April member calls very, very soon. Also, remember the prices again do go up on what is the date of it's the Monday of the Final Four championship game. Is that the 6th? I think it's the 6th.
I don't know. 7th? Sometime in April, the prices go up.
The price is going up very, very soon, guys. I'm serious. So get in on the action on April 1st, which is Monday night at 9 p.m. I will be holding my first weekly, now listen to what I said there, weekly Flip Your Life live exclusive trainings where I'm going to be hand walking the attendees through the Flip Your Life blueprint and taking our advanced members through a business audit to make sure that everyone is ready for the event in September. This is going to be an amazing thing. I'm going to have 2 cycles of this between now and the event so we can get people started, get people going, but you need to jump in it now so you can take massive action. If you're looking for the most accountability you can get, well, guess what? Meeting me on Monday nights is going to be a lot of accountability because I'm going to be looking for you. I know every single person by name that's going to be attending the event. We do a deep dive survey to make sure we know everything about the attendees, and you're going to take massive action. You're going to get things done. It will be the best decision you've ever made for your business. I promise you that. So go to fliplifestyle.com/live. Grab your ticket now.
Matt will be there. Matt, he said his success story is he had a baby. He and Becca, yes, they will be at Flip Your Life Live. They were our photographers last year in Nashville, and they will be attending again. Looking forward to seeing them. But congratulations, she is a beautiful little girl.
Beautiful baby girl.
He was able to take 4 weeks off because he's self-employed and he's still working on his online business. So
that's why you do it. That's why you become self-employed. That's why you stay self-employed, so you can live that flipped lifestyle and have total control of your life. That's what we want for everybody here today, everybody in the community, and everybody coming to Flip Your Life Live. So get out there, guys. Between now and the next member call, take massive action and do whatever it takes to flip your life.
All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Happy birthday to Shane again, and we will see you guys on the next member call.